So in Brazil, it's not very common to own a car. I honestly had one branch where nobody in the branch owned a car. And sometimes like a more settled family, like they'll have one car, and that's like at the most, if they're a very settled, pretty well-off kind of family. And a lot of people just don't. And so the cities are kind of structured in a way for that. So like they'll have a center where most things are, and people just, I feel like it's a closer setup, that it's just more doable to walk everywhere. And that's what missionaries do, is they walk everywhere. And most of the time your areas, at least in my mission, they were like, they're kind of size where that was totally doable. That you could make it, if it was a big area, if it took longer than an hour to walk across the whole thing. So, and that was pretty rare that was even that big. And I feel like the cities are structured so that walking is just completely doable all the time. But you definitely do walk a lot and need to have the kinds of shoes for that to be totally possible. And it's also they have cobblestone streets, so they are really bad on your feet. So you need to have really, really good shoes. And so then if we had to go anywhere kind of far, like district meeting or something, we would usually take the bus, or they have, actually in some of my areas, they had these things called alternativos, and they were just, I think technically illegal cars that they would, people would taxi you around in. And so what it was is you'd go to the stops where they all were, and they'd drive by and they'd yell the city that they were going to. They'd just be like, Jean Pessoa, whatever, whatever, and they'd be yelling it out of the car, and if that's where you were going, you'd get in the car, and you just tell them like what street you wanted to be at, so it's basically like a taxi, and they'd take you there. It was just usually, it wasn't in your same city. Sometimes it could be. It had to be some kind of distance for it to be worth it, and they were very cheap, those ones. And then also the bus, and it's just pretty normal. They can get kind of crowded. They have so they're not like buses here. They have like what do you call those things where it's like a rolling, they have to let you past it, the little turnstile thing. So you have to, they have the driver, and they have the guy who you pay, and he sits there, and his job is to take your money, and he has a little cash register and everything, and so you give him your money, and then he presses the button so that you can go through into the bus. So it's literally like if you don't pay, you cannot physically get in there. They have, a lot of people would have passes. They'd have like student passes and stuff that they could even actually just like kind of beep. Or you could get cards that you like filled up, kind of a thing. Interesting that if they were over 65 or 70, if they were like senior citizens, they actually, because they have like, so they have the front door where you get in, and they have a back door where you're supposed to leave. So when people are getting on, they don't open the back door, they just open it for when you're leaving. And the senior citizens could get in the back door. They just had to hold their ID up, and they let them in the back door because they could ride for free. So, yeah, and they would have like on holidays and stuff, it would be cheaper, and it was pretty good. They had a pretty good setup system.